Hello, everyone. In this lecture, I am going to explain line by line the famous sonnet, Sonnet 40 by William Shakespeare. But if you are new to my channel, then please like and subscribe my channel. But before I start it, let me tell you the brief background of this sonnet, then you will be able to understand it. Actually, at the beginning of the poem, William Shakespeare feels betrayed and deeply hurt. He discovers that his beloved has been unfaithful and has taken his love while giving herself to someone else. He feels robbed and impoverished, as if a thief has stolen the little he had. He struggles between forgiveness and resentment, understanding that love makes betrayal cut deeper than hatred ever could. However, despite all this pain, he cannot bring himself to hate his beloved. His love is so stubborn and complete that even her cruelty cannot turn him against her. He would rather suffer her spites than become her enemy. Now let's start it line by line. Take all my loves, my love, yea, take them all. This is the opening line of this sonnet and the poet. Shakespeare is saying that he is offering everything he has to his beloved. The word yea means yes or indeed, and take them all means he is giving away all his love willingly. Here the phrase, all my loves, means every affection and passion he possesses. Simply, you can say that. He is saying that he is surrendering all his love to his beloved completely. In other words, it means that he is offering his entire heart and soul to the one he loves, holding nothing back, and then says, "What hast thou then more than thou hadst before?" Now he questions what his beloved actually gains from this. The word hast means have, and hadst means had. So he is asking what more she now possesses that she did not already have. In simple words, the poet is saying that his beloved already had all his love, so taking more does not really add anything new. Or you can say that he is pointing out that she already owned his love completely. So this gift is meaningless because nothing has truly changed. And then says, "No love, my love, that thou mayest true love call." In this line, he explains the reality of the situation. Actually, the phrase "mayst true love call" means that she can call something true love. But he argues that there is no such love to give. The word mayst means may or can. Simply, he is saying that he cannot offer any new true love because he had already given it all to her before. He is saying that there is no additional genuine love left to give, since everything was already hers. All mine was thine before thou hadst this more. Now he clarifies how complete his surrender was. All mine was thine means everything that belonged to him, emotionally already belonged to her. And before thou hadst this more means even before she took this additional love. In simple terms, Shakespeare is saying that she already possessed everything he had, so this new taking is an illusion of gain. Basically, all mine was thine means that his heart, soul, and love were completely hers from the very beginning, and nothing new is actually being transferred. Then if for my love thou my love receivest, here he accepts the logic of exchange. For my love means in exchange for his love, and thou my love receivest means she receives his love in return. Simply, he is saying that if she takes his love and gives her own love back, it is a fair trade. And then says, "I cannot blame thee for my love thou usest." In this line, Shakespeare continues explaining his forgiveness. "I cannot blame thee" means he does not hold her responsible. And "for my love thou usest" means because she is using his love. In simple words, he is saying that he cannot criticize her for taking and using his love since he offered it freely. He accepts that she uses his love, but he does not resent it because it was given willingly. "But yet be blamed if thou this self-deceivest." Now he introduces a warning. The word "be blamed" means she should be criticized, and "this self-deceivest" means she deceives herself. In short, Shakespeare is saying that he will judge her only if she lies to herself about what she is doing. Simply, he looks at her actions and says that while he forgives her taking his love, he cannot forgive her if she pretends she is not taking it or if she denies the truth of their situation. And then says, by willful taste of what thyself refusest. Here he expresses his deeper concern. The phrase willful taste means deliberately enjoying or experiencing something. And what thyself refusest means what she herself refuses to acknowledge or commit to. In simple words, he is saying that she willingly enjoys his love and affection but refuses to fully accept or admit what she is doing. In other words, you can say that she tastes and enjoys his love selfishly but refuses to give herself completely to him, or to call it what it truly is. I do forgive thy robbery, gentle thief. Now the tone of the poem shifts to bittersweetness. The word robbery means theft, and gentle thief is an oxymoron because he calls her both a robber and gentle at the same time. In simple words, he is saying that he forgives her for stealing from him, even though she takes everything he has. You can say that he acknowledges she is stealing his love, yet he calls her gentle, showing that his love is so deep that even her betrayal feels tender to him. Although thou steal thee all my poverty, here Shakespeare uses a striking paradox. Steal thee all my poverty means she steals even his poverty, which implies she takes the little he has. In simple terms, he is saying that she takes everything from him, even though he has almost nothing left to give. He is so poor in love now because she has taken it all, yet he still forgives her. And yet love knows it is a greater grief. Now he explains the pain of love. The phrase love knows means love itself understands, and greater grief means a deeper sorrow. Simply, Shakespeare is saying that being wronged by someone you love hurts far more than being hurt by someone you hate, and then says, to bear love's wrong than hate's known injury. He continues this emotional truth. Love's wrong means the betrayal or mistreatment from a loved one, and hate's known injury means harm from an enemy that is expected. Simply, Shakespeare is saying that suffering betrayal from a beloved person is more painful than receiving injury from a known enemy. In other words, you can say that he is saying that when someone you love hurts you, the pain is unbearable because it comes from trust, whereas hatred already expects harm and therefore hurts less. Lascivious grace in whom all ill well shows. Now he describes his beloved with a conflicting image. Lascivious grace is another oxymoron, because lascivious means lustful or immoral, while grace means elegance and beauty. The phrase all ill well shows means that even bad qualities look good on her. In simple words, he is saying that she is so beautiful and graceful that even her faults and sinful behavior appear attractive. In other words, you can say that she possesses a strange power where wrongdoing looks right on her, and her charm makes even her bad actions seem acceptable. Kill me with spites, yet we must not be foes. Shakespeare ends the poem with a powerful and desperate statement. Kill me with spites means she can hurt him with cruelty and malice. And yet we must not be foes means, but they should not become enemies. Simply, he is saying that even if she treats him terribly and destroys him with her cruelty, he still refuses to let them become enemies. In other words, you can say, he says that no matter how much she hurts him or how badly she behaves, his love is so stubborn and deep that he cannot bring himself to hate her or end their connection. He would rather die by her hand than become her enemy. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. But please don't forget like and subscription to my channel. Thank you.